Welcome back to Applied Wisdom. We're now in Module 6, Prioritize and Focus. This is the final module in the planning portion of Applied Wisdom. The last two modules covered ways to step back and assess the driving forces surrounding your organization and what's involved in doing the whole job to build infrastructure and capacity. This module answers the question, how can I prioritize all of that? This first video is about managing priorities, while the second video is about working with your board to prioritize and focus. Let's get started. You may have heard the saying, success is a marathon, not a sprint. Today, many individuals and organizations run at an unsustainable pace that is reactive instead of strategic. The purpose of planning is to move away from being reactive and become more strategic. As a leader, you must motivate everyone, staff and board, to march in the same direction and maintain focus. People have to trust the leader's vision and accept responsibility for helping make that vision a reality. With limited time and resources, it's essential to set priorities and then focus on what's most important. When you're planning how to implement an organization's vision and strategy, you have to look at both the short term and the long haul. It's a good idea for teams to spend at least 10% of their time each week planning. Taking time to plan and confer creates a useful rhythm and routine. Stepping away from the daily grind challenges you to slow down, reflect, and adjust your plans as needed. When it comes to planning, a helpful practice is the rule of 3. Always identify and focus on 3 priorities. Make sure that each day's activities move you past short-term priorities and toward long-term goals. You'll feel more in control when you move away from being constantly in a reactive mode. Don't let urgent situations rob time from your more important long-term priorities. Never treat long-term goals as something you plan to vaguely get to in a year. During your planning time, review your best ideas at least weekly. Prioritize them, and think about when they can become actionable. Let's hear some planning examples.
Helping the team stay on track it's such a massive part of the job, and so I think about it constantly. I try really hard to make myself accessible, both formally, so having set check-in times with my key direct reports, and having clear standards for how those meetings go and how the agendas for those meetings go, so that we are on a week-to-week basis reviewing the same information and getting updated information. But I'm a big believer, and there's probably lots of Harvard Business School studies saying, limit the number of meetings you should have, and always have an agenda and an outcome for a meeting. But I'm a big believer in the pop-by, the walking and talking type of managing. So just being very present when my team is in the office, because we have a hybrid work schedule, so especially in this environment, and touching base with everyone on my team once a day, even just very informally, to say hi, what are you working on, is such an invaluable method that I use to sort of stay on top of and understand where everyone's work is, and there's so much actual useful decision making that comes out of that and information that I get out of that. So it's not rocket science. I walk around the office and I talk to everyone every day. But for an organization the size of ours, that's still practical. As we, larger organizations can't do that, but I can, and it works really well for us.
When I think about areas where I lose focus as a leader, or where there are opportunities for our organization, really there's one central point that I come back to, which is trying to do too much. Or trying to do too many things well. And I think at the end of the day, Apple's probably the best example of this. You've got the peanut butter memo that was at Yahoo, a lot of examples of this here in the technology sector. But trying to do a few things well, understanding what those high ROI categories of focus are for your clients, that at the end of the day is where we're trying to go in this organization. We cannot be all things to all people. And in fact, doing fewer things well allows you to enhance your value proposition for your clients. So that's been a core focus of ours. And I think on that focus question, bearing that in mind, doing fewer things well will probably always serve a leader well.
Now it's your turn. Use the planning time exercise to reflect on your current planning routines and decide on any changes you can commit to making. With the next video, we'll continue sharing our approach to planning by looking at how to work with your board on setting and focusing priorities.